Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Nice little sweep on Monday. Very excited that on a little tiny doo-doo slate, we found three nice bets to go 3-0, make ourselves 3 units. Going to run through those with you guys real quick and give you an opportunity to get into the VIP for an even bigger discount than yesterday. Also have 6 looks that I want to take you guys through here on this 10-game slate for Tuesday. Definitely don't have anything down yet. I've told you before, there is no better way to get your account notified and get the attention of the books than to go ahead and bet the night before in the NBA. So we're waiting till Tuesday morning to bet these things, but we got some early research done here. So if these numbers are still available on Tuesday morning, we're going to go ahead and hit them. If that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's get right into it. Little 3-0 to kick off the week. Nice little sweep, plus 3.1 units on Monday. Now up 41.5, looking to get back to that 50 mark here and back above it before we get into the playoffs. The 3 bets I had, 2 on Asar, got the alt points at 15 plus, over 12.5. Tobias Harris was out in this game, and now he has about 15 points per game without Tobias Harris, which is around what he was averaging, and you can usually bank on about 30 minutes. He even got into foul trouble in this game, had 4 fouls early in the third quarter, and we still got him back in there in the fourth to get a 3 ball that helped us get to the 15 plus. So really happy that he came in and did not hook us. And then Pell Larson, also a nice bet there, over 10.5 points, as we had, who do we have out? We had Bam Adebayo out, we had Andrew Wiggins out. A really easy game against the 76ers. They did pull it out. It wasn't a blowout by any means, but we knew Pell was probably going to be back in the starting lineup, getting good minutes, getting double-digit attempts on the shots. So nice little over for him on the 10.5 points there. 3 deserved bets. Told you guys a little while ago, once we came off of that really bad losing streak, that we were going to start tracking, were they deserved, were they undeserved. I'm going to take these deserved W's here, and that means that we now have code 2days. If you want to get 45% off your first 2 months in the VIP, use code 2days, and we'll go ahead and get you in there before we get into the playoffs. So hope to see you guys in there, but let's get into these 6 plays that I've got here for Tuesday. As always, going to be using Props Madness on the show here, the #1 sports betting tool for all things hoops. If you do want to get in on the action here, use code LYB. You can get 7 free days to see if you like this before you jump in. And when you do decide that you want to purchase a monthly fee here, it is like $20, 25% off though, using code LYB for that first month that you might want to try out the platform. As we jump into the Hawks and Magic, a couple things that we got to keep in mind. First of all, 11 teams of the 10 games are on the front end of a back-to-back. So 11 of these teams are going to be playing on Tuesday and on Wednesday. Don't know if that's going to impact too much here. I think the key thing, though, that we do want to keep in mind is which teams have their playoff seeding locked up and which teams are still fighting for a playoff spot. This Hawks and Magic game, very important because the Hawks are currently 8th and the Magic are in 7th here in the Eastern Conference. So if this is going to be the 7-8 matchup in the play-in tournament, these two teams will likely face off in the first game, but who's ever the 7th seed gets the home court advantage, right? And if you win that game, then you're into the playoffs as the 7th seed, and you don't have to mess with winning another game. So I think they both prefer to be the 7th seed, and I think they'll both come out strong. The Magic do play Boston on Wednesday, so keep that in mind, but this is the game they need. They could, not the Boston game is important because they need to keep pace, but winning this game would put them in a nice spot to even rest guys if they needed to against the Celtics. So the bets that I'm looking at in this game to start, I'm kicking it off with Paolo here. Everything for him is very high. Assists are where they should be at 4.5. The rebounds are actually higher than his season total, at about his season average, I should say, at about 8.5. But the thing I'm looking at here is the threes, because these are at 1.5. They're still at -130. And the attempts for Paolo against this team are pretty high. So there's a couple really nice things working in our favor here for Paolo on this one. First of all, he's attempting a ton of threes, right? I think we can bank, because we know that this game is going to be so important, we can bank on him playing 35 minutes at the minimum. He's averaging about 36 or so on the season. So if we look at him here, give him a minimum of 35, and I'm not even going to put a cap on his number here, because if you look at the 44 minutes, I could easily see him playing that. If this is a close game and they need him out there, they can rest him against Boston if they win this game, because they'll have an extra game cushion over the Hawks. So I think he goes balls to the wall in this one. And if we give him this many minutes, the key for me whenever I'm taking a 3-point prop is, how many are they going to shoot? I can't guarantee you they're going to make threes. It's a lower percentage shot than a 2-point shot. But if they're going to take a good amount, then I can at least bank on him not having to hit that high of a percentage. When he's played at least 35 minutes this season, he's averaged 6.6 3-point attempts per game. That's a little bit better than the 5.9 that he's at on the season, right? That's almost a full 3 more that he's attempting when he gets that many minutes. If he does that, he needs to go 2 for 6 at this point, 2 for 7 even, which is worse than 30%. If I just need him to score hit 30% of his threes, like exactly 30% of his threes to get me to where I want to be, I'm gonna feel pretty good about that. I'm gonna take that over at -130. Those odds still give me an edge on this bet. The other thing here is going to be against this Hawks team specifically, he also takes a good amount of threes. So in the 2 games he's played against them this season, 4 for 9 and 3 for 10. If he takes 9 or 10 threes, I'm very, very happy to take him to make 2 of them out of that many attempts, right? And this goes back to last season as well when he played against his team. The threes were there in the games where he was playing actually without Franz last year. He had 5 and 7, but he was also taking way fewer last year, right? On the season last year, he was averaging 4.5. This year on the season, he's averaging about 6, but he still has an uptick in his 3-point attempts when he plays against the Hawks. And this season, it's especially because if you hover over this right here and you see how the Hawks are at defending his exact position against 3-pointers, they are 27th, limiting threes to the sort of forward position here that we'll call it for Paolo. He's definitely like a point forward, but forward position, power forward position. This is a spot on the floor where the Hawks are very weak. So definitely looking for Paolo, not necessarily the points with how high they are, but give me 6 attempts for him from 3, and I think he's good for 2. Next lean I have here is an under for Wendell Carter Jr. because this Hawks team has been really good. I've been talking about this for the last couple games. We went under on Filipowski recently for center points, and we're going to do the same here for Wendell Carter Jr. I like under 10.5 for his points here. Hell, this might get to 11.5, which would be wonderful. But this is kind of a situation where the market is not really catching up to how good the Hawks defense has been against centers. I've talked plenty of trash on Onyeka Okongwu as a center at times, but I can't talk trash on his defense, his versatility as a defender and a big man, and his ability to guard a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. If you look at Wendell in the 2 games he's played against the Hawks, he had 9 points in 32 minutes, only 4 points in 18 minutes. He has had some games where, I mean, that's one of the outs for us to go under, is that he's had plenty of games where he doesn't even see 20 minutes, just based on maybe Goga is a better matchup for the game. Maybe they want to go even smaller than Wendell Carter Jr. and they bring a guy like Anthony Black on and puts Paolo at small ball 5, have Franz running the offense. Like, they have a lot of versatility in this offense, and Wendell Carter isn't crucial to it. The other thing here is that as this Hawks team, if you just hover over this on Props Madness and see that they, against center, the position of center and points, they're ranked 18th, limiting points to the center position. But if you trim this down to since Onyeka Okongwu started starting and getting about 30 minutes, this team, I have the numbers here, is in the top. They're 6th best limiting points per game to centers. They're 8th best limiting threes, and they're 10th best limiting free throw attempts to the center position. So this is not a good matchup for Wendell Carter Jr., and this is a situation where the market probably isn't catching up to the fact that the Hawks are much better limiting center points than they were at the beginning of the season when they were terrible. So we're going to give Onyeka a nice boost here to keep Wendell Carter Jr. from going under, and looking for under 10.5. Hell, this is at 11.5 tomorrow. It's a slam spot for me on the under if we can get this in the morning time. 3 looks in this game because this is, again, a game that we can really bank on 2 teams trying. And that is what betting is supposed to be, is us banking on 2 teams bringing the fullest of their competition to the matchup, which is not always the case in the NBA. So I'm probably going to skip over some doo-doo games here with 2 teams that aren't trying or 1 team that's not trying and da-da-da. But this one, 3 looks, might have even more bets in this one because of the fact that we can bank on both these teams going balls to the wall. And Trae Young assists might actually be an under here. I don't know if we can get this thing up to 11.5. If this is 11.5, I'm going under. 10.5, I'm going to need better odds than like minus 125 to go under. If I'm going to take under 10.5, I would take this about even money if we can get 10.5 assists. But if I can't get even money, but if I can get 11.5 rather, I would take under down to like minus 130, right? That's what I think of the 11.5. Now, he's at 11.5 on the season, and this against this team, it's even worse, right? So 8 assists here in the first one on 17 potentials. And then in the second one, even worse, 14 potentials, 6 total assists in this game, right? Now, Jalen Suggs was not in either of those games, but the matchup is once again going to be KCP. So Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has done a very good job limiting Trae Young forever, really, on the assist. Like, since he was in Denver, really good numbers for him as the primary defender on Trae. So that's what's really going to be important here, is knowing that the defender is going to be really making it difficult for Trae to get his dimes. If you look at the potential assists against this team head-to-head, like 14 and 17, like we said, right? If you go back to last season, even last season, 2 out of the 3 under, 18, and then he did have 122 potential assist game here in January against the Magic. But in all of the other 4 games, we're at 18, 17, and 14 for the potential assists. And what I always tell you guys is you usually bank on 50 to 55% of your potential assists turning into regular assists. Well, if he's averaging this season, if you look at his potential assists, he's averaging 15.5 against this team, right? Last season, you look at his potential assists, averaged 19 with a sort of outlier 22 potential assist game. But even if it's 19, let's say it's 17 potential assists, that's about his average versus this team. So what I want to do real quick is look at what has happened in the games where he's had a range of, say, 15 to 19 potential assists in the game total. On the season, we take that number, we're at 9.4. So that's why we was talking about how important potential assists are to making a bet. Because if you look at his potentials and he's averaging about 17 versus the Magic in the last 2 seasons, that's the last 5 games he's played against this team. If you give him an average of about 17 potential assists, he's going to average about 9. And that's still a decently high rate. That's about 55%, almost 60% of his potential assists turning into assists, right, against this team. And he's still not getting there to the 10.5 that he needs over, or hopefully 11.5 that he needs to the over. So this is going to be a very good matchup against the number 1 team limiting assists in the Magic and the number 2 team limiting assists to point guards specifically. So love this under here for Trae on the dimes. Going to see if we can get this at 11.5 here on Tuesday morning. Jumping into the Wizards. They are in Indiana, taking on the Pacers. Don't have as much for this game, but go ahead and give this video a like if you're getting anything out of what we've got here. I do want to just call out a couple things for this game real quick. Whoever I'm betting overs on is going to be a backup on the Pacers, and it's not even going to be a good backup. It's going to be guys at the bottom of the bench. So I'm going to have to wait because we don't get bench player props until closer to tip-off, right? Right now, we have Pascal as a questionable tag. The Pacers they kind of need this game. It's not the end of the world. There's like 4 games left and they're up by 3. So they're not really going to catch the Knicks in 3rd, and they're not going to get caught by the Bucks, who are behind them in 5th probably. They're pretty locked into the 4th seed here, and they just are coming off a game where they absolutely waxed not that long ago. It was on March 27th. They won by 53 points against this Wizards team, and if you look at the way that the Pacers have played against bad teams recently, they have smacked them, right? 14-point win against Charlotte, 28-point win against the Jazz, really nice 5-point win against the Nuggets. And then, like I said, you go back to this 53-point win against Washington. So like the last 4 non-playoff teams that they played, they've beaten by like an average of 30 points. When you add in this 53-point smackdown they laid on the Wizards, no reason to think that that's not going to happen once again. The Wizards have given up. They're not playing anybody. So I'm looking at guys like Obi Toppin with or without Pascal. I think Obi's probably a good bet. Maybe some TJ McConnell, but I'm thinking even lower on the bench. Like, can we get anybody even lower than that? Maybe some Ben Shepherd. He's also questionable, but even like, is Johnny Furphy going to give us some props? That's who I'm looking at on the Pacers side. So we're going to wait until we get some backup props there. A guy that I'm considering on the Wizards, though, for an over is Bub Carrington. It's gone up to 19.5. I'm really hoping we can get this at 18.5. I was thinking we might even be able to get it at 17.5 for the PA. If we can get 17.5, it's a smash. If we can get 18.5, I'm hitting this. 19.5, it's starting to bleed over, but it's not the best matchup by any means. The Pacers are a good defense. They're good at limiting assists, but look at these minutes. 41 minutes, 37 minutes, 41 minutes in the last 3 for Bub. This team's given up. This is the list of the players not playing for them is everybody in addition to Rashawn Holmes, Vukcevic. We've got Middleton out. We've got Koulibaly out. Kispert's out. Like, there's nobody playing for this team. And so they're giving Bub high 30s, low 40s in the minutes for him now. I got to take an over on that. Like, if we get 18.5 on the points and assists, you look at the last 3 games, 15 potentials, 11 potentials, and 8 potentials against the Celtics, who are a very good team limiting assists. On the points here and the shots in these last 3, 13 shots, 18 shots, 16 shots. So we should project him for about 38 minutes and about 14 shots. And if he does that, I really like him to get 14 points on 14 shots. And the points and assists are also a good bet if we can get it at 18.5. Final disclaimer, if we can't get it at 18.5, I might just go with the points at 13.5, as I think he's going to be in there for a lot. And this is going to be a pretty fast-paced game. So going to like Bub here to get his on the points, but would love points and assists if we can get it at 18.5. Couple games here that I'm passing, as you can see. Grizz and Hornets, nothing there for me right now. Everything's sort of baked in terms of the price on the Grizzlies bets. No real good overs even for their backups right now. The Bulls and the Cavs, got to come back to that one that actually just came up. And then this is an example of 2 teams that are not trying to win. The Pelicans and the Nets, don't even want to touch that. How do you bet on 2 teams trying to lose? It's impossible. So let's go to the Knicks and Celtics. Celtics don't really need to win. They've got 3 pretty important guys that are both that are all 3 questionable. KP, JT, JB. So Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, all listed as questionable. At least one of them ain't playing, if not 2. if not 3. Honestly, I can't tell you either way. So I'm staying away from them until we know more about their stuff tomorrow. But Jalen Brunson is back. He played pretty full minutes, 34 against the Suns, which is full for a guy who was sort of getting a rest. Actually, he would normally be playing 36, so they kind of gave him a little bit of a breather. But now he's back, right? They won by 14. They didn't really need him, so he only played 34 minutes. But they want to win this game. They just kind of want to lock up that 3 seed. They're only 3 games up on the Pacers, like I mentioned. So let's just take care of business if we can. Would be nice to stay close and not get waxed once again by the Celtics, who, once again, I don't think are going to play all their players as almost like an FU to the Knicks. Like, you didn't beat us with all our players. Well, we're not even going to play our players in this one. See if you can beat them. But either way, Jalen Brunson is a great look for the 3s here. So the points are scary a little bit. 24.5, still doable. You look at him head to head, only really one game that helps us here, the 36. Others, they lost by 13, they lost by 27, they lost by 23. So he's in line to get the points when he gets the minutes against them. And I think they'll keep this one close enough because they'll be playing plenty of Celtic backups that he'll get the minutes. But rather than go with the points, I like the 3s a lot more. So look at the 3s here. 1 for 2 in the first game. He only played 25 minutes in the first game they played this season because they got smacked. It was over 20. The 23-point win is actually not even really showing you how bad of a game it was for the Knicks. But look at the 3-point attempts in the games where he actually played legit minutes. 3 for 7. 4 for 9. Let's go back to last season just to use the same stuff here. Look at this hit rate. 3.2 per game against them. Took 8, took 7, took 5 here in a bad loss, and then took 9 and took 11, right? So the 3-point attempts on average last season were at 8 per game versus this Celtics squad. On the season, he was averaging 6.8. That's the same thing this season. This season, he's at about 6 attempts versus this team. But if you take out the first game where he only took 2 because he only played 25 minutes, then he's averaging 8 once again in these last 2 games. 7 in this one, 9 in that one, right? So if he's taking 8 threes, I like him to make 3 of them for plus 158. Are you kidding me? You can still get 1.5 for awful juice on some other books, but I'm going to be taking 3 plus whichever book it is, because when he plays this team and he gets normal minutes, he's done this most of the time. Let's cancel this one out. 2 for 2 this season in legit games, and then we'll just call it 4 for 5 in last year's. And I believe this was the in-season tournament. I can't fully remember. In December, 0 for 5, whatever. More importantly, all the other games taking about 8 per game, hitting 3, 4, 3, 6. Like, love this for him, because it's not just, oh, hey, he happens to do this against the Celtics. It's that he is a pull-up shooter, and the Celtics give up pull-up threes, right? So on the season, the Celtics are giving up the 9th most 3-point pull-ups, and they're giving up the 5th most pull-ups in general, right? And so it's just pull-up shots because they pressure the ball, they don't double team it, so they don't give up catch and shoot, they give up spot up. Right. They give up pull up, not spot up. So that's what we're going to see Jalen Brunson doing is dribble, 3-point shot. Right. He's the guy that gets a little bit more of the threes because he's the point guard with the ball in his hands, shooting those pull up shots. So we're going to love him for 3+ for that kind of plus money. We're definitely taking that if it's still available. Anything around like plus 125, happy to take that 3+ 3s for JB tomorrow. One more look that I have for you guys here is in this Warriors and Suns game in Phoenix. And I'm going to go down here to my man, Buddy Hield. Let's start with this. I don't think this is going to be a close game, right? It's an 8-point spread right now. I think it's going to get bet up for the Dubs. I also think the Dubs are going to win by 12, 13. Like, I think they're winning by double digits. All right. So what we got to look at here is some stuff that we can say, well, this is the guy that comes in and plays a lot and gets a lot of points when they're winning by a lot. It is Buddy Hield. He is what we call the human victory cigar for this team. Like, if Buddy Hield is in and he's in at the end of the game, probably because they're dominating, right? So if you look, the way to look at that is you can go to these advanced filters, hit more, and you're going to see this won by option. So now I can filter this to look at the games where the Dubs have won by a lot of points. Let's say at least 10 points, right? Let's say they're going to win by at least 10 against this team. What are the numbers for Buddy Hield? Well, on the season, he goes from 11 points per game to 13.7. But let's add some filters here so that we know he's playing with Jimmy and he's playing with Steph Curry, because they're both going to be in this game, right? Well, actually, it gets better here. Looks like 14.9 points per game now with Steph, with Jimmy, winning by at least 10 points. Even if we make this like, I don't know, down to 20, right? Which is still very reasonable for a victory for them, down to 20 points. Still really good. It's going to be about 14, 15 points for Buddy. So I'm predicting that they're going to win by a good amount. Now, I know the market hasn't dictated that just yet, but I'm dictating that. So I'm taking over on the Buddy points at 8.5. I think this is going to go up. I think 15 plus right now is probably worth a sprinkle, but again, going to bet this in the morning, hoping that we have similar numbers here for Buddy. I don't see why this would move unless other people bet this for the same reasons that I'm betting it, because I think it's too low and should be at about 10.5 with the way that I think this game is going to go. So that's what I'm liking for Buddy here. The other thing is for the Suns, earlier in the season, they were a very good catch and shoot defense. That's kind of Mike Budenholzer's thing, is he doesn't give spot up or catch and shoot shots, right? But they're just bad now. So if you look at their numbers, this is stark, y'all. If you look at their numbers up until about the beginning of January, up until January 1st, this team allowed the 5th lowest frequency of 3-point shots off the catch and shoot. So guys like Buddy Hield were not getting theirs against Phoenix earlier in the season because they still had good players on the court that could actually defend the catch and shoot. They've given up. This defense doesn't care. Since January 1st, they are actually allowing the 10th most 3-point shots off the catch and shoot. And since the All-Star break, they're averaging the 4th most 3-point shots off the catch and shoot allowed. So catch and shoot guys, come get yours now against the Suns. Whereas it used to be really tough to score against them as a catch and shoot player, it is now your bread and butter. So we're liking Buddy Hield, even if this isn't a blowout. I think he's good for a couple threes, and then he may need 3 of them, but I think he's good for at least 2 of them. And then I do think he's going to get some garbage time or some time where they're up by a lot and say like the 3rd, and that's going to be Buddy's time to shine and getting us to about 9 or 10 points tomorrow. All right, y'all, don't forget, if you do want to jump into the VIP, 45% off your first 2 months if you use code 2days. Doing a lot more in there than just obviously giving the picks out. Got the great VIP chat. Really grateful to all the cappers that are in there helping me out. Got some VIP guest channels in there that from some guys. Shout out Buddy Irons. I got to give my man a shout out. He is grinding that baseball stuff for us. So really, really grateful to have him doing that for us right now. Definitely want to see y'all in there. Use that code 2days. Until I see y'all next. Happy betting.